Welcome everyone, Uncle Sam presents the Scarecrow Hour. Welcome to the Scarecrow, Scarecrow Hour. Random, the most random ninja. Uncle, who's your uncle? The Scarecrow Hour, brought to you by Uncle Sam. This is the Scarecrow Hour.
Thanks for joining us. We had a technical issue with the audio. We are aware of the problem with one of the microphones and have done our best to correct the error. Welcome to the Scarecrow Hour. Please enjoy the show.
All right, guys, it is Uncle Sam and
Randomest Ninja Miss.
the most randomest of the most ninja miss.
Trademark patent pending.
Copyright.
This is episode 3 of Dazed and Confused.
Episode 3. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. Hopefully, you've already seen the first two and you've enjoyed it thus far. So here you are on the third.
On the third one.
Number
I've
3.
enjoyed doing it. I kind of, the more we talk about it, the more I want to watch the movie. You know what I mean?
So in the last episode, we finished off with the end of the day, and here we are at the beginning of the night when we have free ride. So let's take it easy, and they don't really take it easy. There's a lot that happens in this evening.
You know, like homegirl was sitting there like I've heard girls would do that, the zipper thing, lay down. Now that she normally wore like a size 6 or 7. That was a size 1 that she did that with. Yeah.
Once again, my aunts, same thing.
Yeah.
Talk about doing the same thing because they grew up in this time.
Laying back, getting somebody to help you with the. I mean, again, it's just one of those real things that you're like, what? I mean, it's kind of like somebody talking about the hazing. A lot of people on the movie, they were like, they thought the hazing was completely made up.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, the paddling, they're like, oh, it's not real. I'm like, yeah, that stuff's real. And they're
Very
like,
real.
you know, of course, you know, they're from LA and stuff, you know.
So every now and then you have somebody showing up at Pickford's house, and then we've got the baseball game, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry, they went to. Yeah, he's got to light up before they open the door. Like,
He's got a big old whale bubble.
Yeah.
baby and
he's like, oh, hold on, let me do it. And then he like jumps over, like, nope.
out.
And of course, Mike, when
They
he gets
got
over there,
they even got the water pipe and everything, and it's like,
yeah, they're ready to go. Dude's dad answers. Oh, boy, howdy. Anyway.
So Mitch is on the mound.
Yeah, we're at the baseball game.
Yeah, and he knows it's coming because they're right there screaming, yelling.
Yeah. Like, and that's what I said before, that how he didn't know how to play baseball.
Yeah, so that's the stand-in. They had a pitch dummy,
Yeah.
a pitch double.
They're like, the greatest effect in this movie is making it look like he knew how to play baseball. I remember thinking the first time I watched this too, like that I thought he was going to like peg one of the seniors with the ball, like just so they were doing it and everything.
Well, you know, I mean, he concentrates, throws a strike, wins the game,
Right.
you know?
I love how they're like, you better strike this guy out.
And, you know, his buddy runs up. He's like, hey.
Can you lead them?
Yeah.
Out
it's
there? They're
like,
going to get you anyway.
Yeah, it's like, you know, they've come here for you.
Why are they? Yeah.
So the first time that I ever saw anything of this movie was this part right here.
Really?
No More Mr. Nice Guy. I
Yeah.
walked in the room and that song was playing and they are just beating the crap out of him.
Out of his butt, he's been over.
Yes, he's been over a car getting whooped. And I was like, what in the heck is going on here? Like, I was a little kid. And I watched it from then on for the most part. I think it was, I don't know if it was on TV or if it was on HBO or something like that.
I never saw it on TV or HBO. Like, I only saw it on when I rented.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen, I'm sure it's been played on TV.
Yeah.
You know, but I never did see it. Of course, censorship was a little different back then. You know, there's a lot of stuff they probably wouldn't have, because especially with the cussing and stuff.
That's why I'm thinking it was on HBO or something like
Yeah.
that. Just because it was at my granny's house, I'm pretty certain. And so it would have had to have been something like that. It had been on HBO or something. And I'm pretty sure my dad was watching it. But I could be mistaken about who was watching it. But that's the first thing I ever saw was, maybe I turned it on. I don't know, whatever. The very first time I ever saw it was just that. And I'm just like, why are they doing that to that kid? Like, I had no
He must have got in
context.
a lot of trouble.
I was like they're beating the crap out of him. They're just jumping to him and beating the crap out of him. But that's the perfect song for that little scene.
Oh, yeah, No More Mr. Nice Guy.
So he's lined up over the car getting whooped.
No, Bandit's got that. That is the definition of an ass-eating grin.
Oh
right
yeah.
there. O'Banion, that look where he's
So
like,
excited.
yeah, that's the sinister grin, man. And then he's even after he does it, he's like, I gotta get seconds. Yeah.
And then you have Pink and Melvin's trying to get him, and you can tell like he's trying to talk to him. You can tell Pink's like trying to wait till he
Yeah.
it's like just go
Kinda
this way. Let me get this. It's like go. And then he just goes ahead and does it.
Which Mel's cool. You
Yeah.
know, he just laughs about it. He gets it because he's
Yeah.
not a bad dude. But yeah, they'll wind up the path. But again, he said he would take care of him,
Right. And he did, which is kind of who he is. And it kind of, later on, whenever he's dropping it off, he kind of explains, he's like, it's all right.
Yeah,
You just
of
do
course,
it.
the kid's like, Banion's a jerk, He's like, yeah, he's kind of a joke. He's not a bad guy to have on your side blocking, though, which kind of shows you why they put up with him because he's part of their team,
Right.
you know?
And there's a bond there.
Yeah, right on. It's like, but they can admit, yes, he's a jerk. Not gonna let you sit here and trash talk him, though, you little freshman. But also, and he takes him under his wing, but we also know the main reason he takes him under his wing is it's Jodie Kramer's little brother.
Yep. That's for his sister.
And, I related to that because I would have older dudes be cool with me, and I knew because they liked my sister.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, yeah, that's why I got to hang out with older people
Okay.
than me. It's like, yeah, because I was dealing with his little brother.
Okay. That's why I hang out with you. You just haven't figured it out yet.
You messed up.
It's like, you're dumb. It's like, it's been 20 years, bro.
Yeah, make your move.
It's time to move on or do
No,
something.
you missed her divorce, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the window. She's already remarried.
Peter Frampton's on the radio when he's taking him home.
Peter freaking Frampton.
Do you feel like I do? It's a live
Oh,
cut.
yeah, womp.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, Peter freaking Frampton.
Yeah, then it moves on to Lowrider and basically like a car show.
Yeah.
Everybody just cruising.
Which, this movie was a lot of those songs. First time I heard them, I probably had heard Lowrider before.
Yeah.
But, and then are we at the Top Notch?
Yes.
Dadgum, that's got bro. I actually went to Austin to go to the Top Notch, and I pulled in, listening to Sweet Emotion, and when we left, I listened to Slow Ride. It was cool. Guess what I ordered to eat?
Soggy fries and,
Yeah, I didn't say soggy.
and
Jalapeno burger, cheeseburger, and fries. It is so cool, that place. It's between two places.
Mhm.
Like, it's not a big wide open area. And you see that white wall they pass by?
Yeah.
Like, they have a giant TV on there now, and they'll paint it. And
Yeah.
they'll project movies and show
Oh,
there.
okay.
In fact, a friend of mine was just there. They were doing like a concert or something there. Yeah, I was so surprised when I found out it was a real place.
Oh, cool.
And there, yeah, it's small when you go in. They have a little shadow box that has a few things from Days Confused, like a VHS of it. I thought they were the real paddles, but
Yeah.
somebody was telling me no, they were like remakes
Yeah.
or whatever. And there's a couple, I forget what else, but a couple little things from there. I mean, it's not a big deal. They didn't trip about it.
Yeah.
It's not like you walk in, it's like this. That's not the only movie that was shot there.
Okay.
Do you remember Varsity Blues?
Yeah, of course.
That was shot there too. The little drive up diner.
Oh, really?
I only learned that not that long ago.
Oh, I had no idea.
And when yeah, same place.
That might have been. Maybe they drove through it, but regardless, then you have
They show it a few times.
Yeah,
They drive
because-
through it a few times.
because then you have the scene with the three girls and Simone in the middle
Yeah.
where she's like,
Right. Yeah. Which I
I'm
think-
gonna kick her.
Yeah.
Thought you weren't mad. I'm not mad.
Getting genuine.
That's whenever you have Mike and because this is before they get there, because you have Mike and Tony and Cynthia driving around, and that's whenever he admits that he's like he's like I don't even like the people. I have to come to grips. I don't even like the people that I've been talking about defending. Then you got that I want to dance. Then you have
Do kids do that anymore? Drive around like we used to?
I don't know. I don't hang out with very many high school kids,
Well,
believe it or not.
You're aware that there is a culture that there are kids that age.
I don't come to Graham and go on the square or drag the square or go up and down the
Loser.
drag or anything anymore. I
make the
usually
drag
have.
once in a while in the middle of the day just to go like shout out 1996. What's up?
I don't.
Oh, well, they say these day and age, they're like kids, like most kids aren't even getting their license at 16 anymore. Like people are just they're just,
Even
Yeah.
here?
yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's just youth in general.
Huh.
You know, like they're not as interested in having because vehicle is freedom. You know, but
Yeah.
they're all linked up on social stuff and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're old.
I mean, we had internet and messengers and stuff like that, but
It's just
it's
bro, everything's digital. Like music now. Like kids aren't even into albums and songs. They like 30-second songs and stuff like that.
that stuff drives me nuts. Dude.
It's weird, but things change.
Yeah,
And
no,
you think about
not
it,
for the better all the time.
music is like it started off with symphonies and stuff like that. And you had like Beethoven and Mozart. Those spin on two, and then it got smaller and smaller and smaller, and now you can make it on your phone. You know what I mean? And there's a reason we still listen to those classic stuff like Beethoven and those names matter because what they made was big and it mattered. This stuff now it doesn't matter. You know, you're not.
See? Your music doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Even
Not
the
at
good
all.
stuff. Nobody like. They're not making classic music anymore. It's not going to happen. The stuff that you're listening to right now, they're not going to be listening to in 10 years. They'll be listening to stuff from 50 years ago. The 80s and the 90s. Once it hit the 20s, the 2000s, things kind of got blurry. You didn't have a definitive decades. You go all the
Yeah.
way back to the 20s, the 30s, and see those decades.
Yeah.
But once it hit 2000,
Yeah. Well, I think
I mean, you don't see
it's all
something
kind
like-
of pop and hip hop sort of all just mushed together,
Sure.
and then the rock stuff all kind of started blending
And
together.
then look at
and-
like fashion and stuff, dude. Same thing with that. There's
Oh, Jinkos are coming back, bro.
everything comes back. At some point, bell bottoms are back. Which I always thought bell bottoms were cool. Anyway, I don't know. It's just me. Mullet's back. You know what I
Mullet.
mean?
Oh my gosh. Then you got Pink and Wooderson picking up Mitch.
Oh, okay. This
So,
introduces
this introduces Wooderson.
Wooderson.
Be a lot cooler if you
He
did. Yeah.
Because he said, you hear him say, all right, even right there. I think he only says it once, though. The whole story behind the all right thing?
Huh.
Was he was about to, he was getting in character, and he was like, trying to figure it out. And he's like, okay, let's see, what's Wooderson all about, man? It's like he's got his car, he's got weed, he's got, I don't know, something. I forget that. He's like, and now he's like, got everything with the girl. He's like, all right. And then he's
Alright.
going to get his girl. So,
All right.
now, real quick, I'll just tell the sad part. 2 days into filming this, Matthew McConaughey's father died,
Oh.
and he was really close with him and stuff. So they went in Linklater. I think he went with them to the funeral and stuff like that. But then they were like, okay, we're gonna give you some time off and stuff. And so he wasn't. Anyway, he ended up showing up to all his stuff anyway. Because they said, like, people that knew him, they said that changed something in him at that point, was that he was going to pursue this acting thing. And he was going to, I don't know if it was a distraction, but it was something his dad got to see him start it. It was
Okay.
something he started as his dad died. So it was something in a sense, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to run this. Because his dad told him, when he told his dad that he wanted to quit law school and be an actor, his dad said, I'm going to quote him here, he said, don't have it.
Okay.
Because he's afraid his dad was going to be like, no, you got to do this. We need a lawyer to keep us out of jail.
Yeah.
But so he really took that to heart and ran with it. So that had a lot to do, with Matthew McConaughey, who he is and what his career ended up being.
Okay. Well, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
cool.
wow.
And they said, of course, the dude's funeral was a lot of fun, actually.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh,
How it should be. It's a
yeah, no,
memorial.
they're kind of, his dad died making love to his mother. And he said he always said his whole life, his dad's like, I'm going out making love to your mother. And he did. It's like Babe Ruth calling his shot, man. I won't say right on here what his mom said at the funeral. I said, don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, we're talking about R-rated movies.
Anyways, now we have the geyser.
But people were real surprised to see him show up. They're like, oh, Matthew, you here? You good? You okay? But he was there, dude, to rock it. And he was supposed to be a greasy character.
Yeah.
Wooderson was not supposed to be a likable character, really.
Well, turn that stuff around. So go ahead.
But no.
Well, I was just gonna say. Then we have them walking into the Emporium with Hurricane playing.
Now, I was going to say that song is so, and that was the first time I ever heard that song. I know.
Okay.
And I thought it really fit that character.
Perfect.
Even the part that said he could have been the world, the champion of the world.
Yeah.
You're looking at Wooderson. Here's a guy that was probably capable of a lot.
Yeah.
But he didn't he doesn't think further than 10 minutes ahead. You
Right.
know what I mean? He had all this potential to be great in life, but no, he's hanging out with high school people. He's working for the city. He doesn't want to go to JC and listen to some shit that don't know what he's talking about anyway. So that song to me, I always associated that song with that character Wooderson. His shirt, that's a Ted Nugent album. Ted Nugent is really influential to his character in this, which, Ted Nugent's a piece of trash, kind of, in my opinion. Great guitarist player, one of the greatest. But as a human being, I'm just not a big fan of him.
You don't like Uncle Ted?
Dude, too many songs from an adult about hooking up with underage girls.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the lyrics to Jailbait?
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
about jailbait.
If you don't come at me defending Ted Nugent unless you're ready to defend that. I don't care about the hunting and all that, or his political stance. I don't care about any of that. It's all these songs about trying to hook up with underage girls. I'm a little old for that, man. Great guitar player. Stranglehold's an awesome song. He's not even singing that. I know, do you know he has a different person singing Stranglehold?
Huh.
Yeah, it's like one of his biggest songs. He's not even singing it. He's playing the guitar.
Yeah.
That's why I always thought it was weird, because he's a straight edge.
Yeah.
And the guy, I've been smoking for so long.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, why is he singing about smoking?
Okay.
Well, he's not. That's why Stranglehold sounds so different than like Cat Scratch Fever or Wango Tango or anything else he's singing about there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
I didn't mean to go off on Ted Nugent, but Stranglehold, great song.
Another reason I like that song in there, it's like it has that pop, and then you have them walking in, and you've got Mitch walking in with the guys, with
Right.
the older guys, like literally all of them are older.
Yeah.
Like there he is, showing up after the fact of getting his tail end whooped. He's taking the advice that Pink gave him.
Yeah. And plus,
And
nobody's going to mess with him there when he's with Phil.
yeah, exactly. It's like boom, he's
Butters.
feeling it. He's feeling it. And so then we've got the good old 8-track that pops in. I just want to make love to you.
Yeah. That's that Fandango album, isn't it?
And I believe so. And then we got, more cruising around, and that's whenever you get Slater doing the check you later.
Check you later.
Chicks don't want to hear that stuff, man.
Chicks, they don't want to hear anything. And again, real life talking about how the older girls were cool, our girls aren't cool. And that's kind of also the whole theme of this movie, is because, even like later on, Cynthia's like, well, the 70s obviously suck.
Right.
Because, Linklater said that too. He said, everybody romanticizing the 60s,
Mhm.
And he's like, you know what? The 60s probably weren't as great as everybody remembers them, And then when you're in the 70s and you think about how bad they sucked, then you look back on them, they were probably better than you realize,
Well, the 80s weren't that great.
No, well, maybe they were radical. I don't know.
Best part about the 80s is I was born.
Okay, bar's pretty low. All right. Hey, I was born in the 80s.
doesn't take
I was
much.
born before you in the 80s. I was born in 80. That's how I would always know my age and what year it was. Because
Well, see, it got better because 5 years later I was born.
Sure.
Then the 90s
let's go with
came
that.
and shut
Absolutely.
up. Anyways, it's quality, not quantity, man.
Oh, great line. Great line. It's quality, not quantity. And then, first time I watched it, I thought that was Mitch that was sitting back there with them.
Oh, yeah.
When that random long-haired dude with them, like, how did he get in that scene? There he is.
Rando.
He's all laughing. Yeah, I thought that was Mitch. My bad.
Then we have Love Hurts.
Which is kind of on the nose,
Yeah.
but dadgummit,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
At the Emporium.
And it's crazy that Hirschfeld's the one in there hooking up with some,
See, that's where I was going to say, a character that
I've been like, no, y'all go ahead.
I know, it's time to leave.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's not.
Which yes, I
Couldn't
don't.
even stood up right then, really.
Well,
As an 8th grader.
No,
you can't
even that was an issue filming. I won't go into.
be-
He had that issue. Because like I said, he had a really thing for that girl, Deanie. Yeah, and she thought it was all kind of weird, but whatever, He got, like I said before, like, he got to pick the girl. Like Linklater was like, I'm gonna let you choose the girl you have the scene with. But no, which in real life, I don't think he would have went. In that situation, I certainly would have stayed. I think.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm like, dude, I'll catch y'all later.
Yeah, because you're about. I mean, think about it. You're going out, and what happens to him?
He's the one that gets caught too.
Right. Yeah.
Hirschfelder does too. It's like he just had this like awesome moment with this chick, girl of his dreams type situation.
Oh, hey, something we skipped past. I just want to go back to the baseball scene for a second.
Yeah.
A more true to life, real scene, genuine. The old timers, the old couples.
Yeah.
that Pink's talking
Yes.
to.
Yes.
Very genuine scene.
Yes. Yes.
Because that was so real. It's like, because growing up, usually maybe your parents' friends, your grandparents' friends, but they know you, they've seen you grow up. You talk to them. That's what you do.
I can promise you that if we were to go to, like, especially in Newcastle, a Friday night football game, you would have, if they're still alive,
Right.
old men showing up. Like my grandfather, he went to every Bobcat game that he could until he was no longer physically able to get out like that. And still, even then, he tried his best and he showed up to anything and everything that he could. Even when he shouldn't have been driving, he was still going. It's like it was those. Like I get that. Like that is, yeah. I'm glad you went back to that.
Yeah, I
So
just
yeah,
thought it was a really, and and I'm sure those people weren't actors, or maybe they were.
doesn't
But
feel like it.
no, but I mean, for a regular person to get in front of the camera and do, I don't know, it was just really
Yeah.
felt real, and that's at the core. That's what is so important about this movie is it feels real. For the we can pick apart this little part, that
Right.
little part, but for the most part, this could be the day in
Right.
the life of.
Yeah, no, I can genuinely see that. And I was thinking that last night whenever I was watching it, and it does kind of remind me of my grandfather and people of his age or whatever. And it's like I can promise you, you can go this season or whatever on a Friday night, you could have, generations back that are, and that's, they care about it, especially in Texas. Football is,
Oh yeah, it's religion.
I
I
mean,
mean, it is. Like I've said before, money's money may be the blood of the nation, but like football is the religion for it.
hmm And so, yeah, like you said, as soon as Hirschfelder and them get out, like the other two guys get away, but Hirschfelder gets the everyone crap beat out of him.
If you watch that scene, Benny bust when he slides and busts,
Oh,
and
yeah?
he really hurt his knee,
Oh,
and he had to kind of limp for it a little bit. So when they got up to hit with the paddle,
yeah.
he was a little he might have hit him too hard, and might have got some trouble over that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like that kid's mom was there,
Yeah.
and so his agent, it was kind of a thing, and they were like, Benny almost got fired. He was like, "Nah, I got chewed out." He was like, "Whatever, I got chewed out for it." He's like, "I didn't care." But yeah, if you go back, watch it. He slips and busts. It's pretty good stuff.
I'll try to pay attention to that. Directly after that, they're outside of the Emporium.
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
Skip it.
sorry.
Very-
What did I
very
miss?
important.
Wait, what did I miss?
The popping of the trunk with the beers.
Oh,
and
yes.
the girls.
Yes,
I'll tell
yes,
you,
yes. I'm
I
sorry.
love how Don plays that. That kid there,
Yeah.
just some kid.
Yeah.
A beer. One of these beers. Just what a G. And then homeboy comes up like, "Go pay his man." He's like, "Wait, why'd you waste a beer on the kid?" Because they give him a beer.
Yeah.
And then he's like, then he busts on. He's like, "You
There's
wasted
another beer.
I love that. Then he's like, and he's just the voice of reason here. So why are you wasting the beer? But in that there's this kind of random thing where a car drives by and you hear somebody shout, "Hey!"
Oh, yeah. Effer.
Yeah,
Already did? Yeah.
You know who delivered that line?
Hmm.
Jason Lee.
Oh, okay.
Straight up, that's Jason Lee yelling that. Yeah, he might not been in the movie, but he was with them all the
Yeah.
time and partying. He was very happy as a skateboarder. He wasn't trying to be an actor.
Yeah.
But this is kind of what got him.
Pushed him in that direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I mean, it's just weird to think such
Such an influential.
yeah, and then it's like this random throwaway line. It's like that's Jason Lee. It was just basically an extra there, but
That's pretty
it was
cool.
Brody,
Right? That is some Brody stuff to say, too.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Go
he
ahead.
does give him beers.
Yeah. Why are you wasting another beer?
We still have another beer.
All right. So now that we're back to the outside of the Emporium and everybody's talking, you've got Mitch talking to Sabrina. This is one of the most annoying scenes as far as with, this just constantly with,
But if you look at Pink, you can notice that he's talking to Jody at this
Yeah.
part of the thing, and you can she's like, "Why'd you bust him?" And he's like, he does something like it was like this, like a
Yeah,
tap,
yeah. He's like,
'cause-
"No."
which he took care of him.
Yeah. And then you have Wooderson talking about working for the city and everything, right?
Yeah, which was very important because he, Mitch is
Mitch used it later up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he uses it
I love
later
that
on.
because I've done that.
Yeah.
Trying to like BS my way into something or repeat something I heard
Just
somebody older
repeat
say.
something. Yeah.
You're just like, okay, I guess it's because you got no life experience yourself.
One of the things I like about that is in that Emporium and all that, you have all the different groups and all the different cliques and stuff, everybody just mingling together. And I miss pinball.
I love pinball, and they're getting so hard to find pinball machines.
Yeah.
Like I guess because they're kind of hard to maintenance too. Like I don't know. Like I went to arcade at Tilt in Wichita. Have you
Yeah.
gone there? Bro,
It's been a while, but
yeah,
yes.
I was saying you
Yes.
need to take Rustin, dude. That place pretty dope. But they had no pinball, and that's one thing I was bummed about.
They get in the car.
Oh, yeah.
First time Mitch
Well,
gets high.
Because that's really what they get in the car for, to
Drive
smoke.
around and smoke. Yeah.
And of course that classic famous thing though, like, hey man, are you cool? Like how? Okay.
He's like, all right.
I'd use that meme or that gif so much. When somebody says something stupid or something's a lie, I'm just like, okay.
It's like, all right, man.
Yeah, and he's like, he's just asking if you get high. He's like, oh, like smoke pot. He's like, yeah. Like, he's like, I never have. And then right there, you're like, oh, well, he is younger. He doesn't know this stuff.
Yeah, he's just a little kid.
Just a kid.
And so they're driving around destroying mailboxes.
Wait. Okay. So, okay. This is funny. I wish I could remember the guy's name, but so when they were doing the mailbox thing, which the guy that pulls the gun on him later, you can obviously tell which mailbox was his.
Yeah,
it was that patriotic
yes.
one,
Yes.
So like the bowling ball.
Yes.
Mitch, the kid playing Mitch, when that scene, he didn't know he wasn't supposed to throw the bowling ball, and he actually threw the bowling ball out the window, and they were being pulled on a trailer for it. And so the bowling ball just went down the road, just skipping and bouncing until it took out a dude's garage. The funny thing about that is, I wish I could remember the guy's name that hit his garage. He's actually a famous country legend. Like, you don't know him on the radio, but he's part of I think the Flatlanders or something like that. He's part of local legend kind of thing. And he was just like, I guess he was cool about it. He was like, I don't know, it's just suddenly there was a bowling ball, But even though you wouldn't know his music, you would recognize him from another cult classic movie. He played in Market 8, dude. Over the Line.
Big Lebowski.
He's Smokey in Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah.
The bowling ball hit his garage door.
Okay.
Yeah, just another one of those little tidbits. Market 8.
That's funny.
And it was a bowling ball.
It was a bowling ball. There we go. So many connections in this movie. Oh my gosh.
That's a good career out of country music and bowling balls. If I ever meet that guy, I'm getting him to sign a bowling ball.
It's like my whole life I've been waiting for this.
Market 8, dude.
You sign on there, Market 8.
Yeah, we get careful. We'll go into Lebowski. That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so great. So, no, classic scene. And, of course, the bowling ball, I always thought it was funny the way he throws it, but then it, comes from way high. Whatever. It's a movie. That's not
And everyone's just kind of like, oh, shit, you're not supposed to do that.
You got bowling ball to that window, Junior. But then they're like, then Donnie. See, I like this too, where they're like, okay, we got to do a grab and go.
Right.
With the beer. And he's like, yeah, I'm missing you,
I'm really going to pay for it.
Yeah, which is probably something like I would do. At some point be like, pay for it. They come running out, like, go. But of course, dude, he's like, Don, give the beer back.
Paid for it, dude.
And I love it. You like paid for it when he says he's like, kind of like messing with it. Like, suddenly he doesn't care there's a gun on him. He's like, you're messing with us. Yeah, you busted him out. Messing with the mailbox is a felony offense. I done called them. It's like, yeah, that's I love that. They're like, just go. What are you doing?
That's what I would have done. I'd called
especially once he puts the gun up.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, he's like,
bro, we got a GTO.
That's why you got your dude reach over there with on the gearbox.
Yeah, I love he grabs his hands like, go.
Because Pickford's got his hands up, right?
I think, but I want to say he grabbed his hand and put it on it. Because if I recall, there's two hands on the thing. Kind of like Pickford might be frozen or something.
I thought he had both of his hands
up.
He
does, but when they take off, I don't know. We'll have to revisit that.
Okay, yeah. Huh, all right.
Okay, well, we just revisited that, and it turned out I was right. / we just revisited that, turned out I was wrong there, whichever you need to use. Oh, you were right. Oh, you were wrong. Okay.
Did you notice that cigarettes were only 60 cents?
No, but that's funny. That's a great, that's a great thing. I wonder how much gas was. Probably like a nickel.
Probably.
Well, how much did he buy? I don't know. He didn't say how much the beer. Wait, has he gone to the?
No.
No, okay, not yet.
No, that's later. Yeah, because they go back because they're about to go back to the
Emporium, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, because Pickford's they go back to because he's telling the story. You can tell he's like, yeah, he had the gun, and then we took off.
And then because Mike, Tony, and Cynthia are driving her around directly after that.
Yeah.
And that's whenever she gives this thing. She has some good lines because um, he's like, we might as well go. And it's like, or you say death of the party or life.
Yeah, life of the party, you know.
And she's like, well, wait, no, he has a valid point. It's like, you might as well do something.
Yeah, like when she's like, yeah, I just want to get in a fight, get drunk. Like the way she's kind of mocking
And he's like, well, we're all going to die. So might
life of
as
the
well.
party.
And so he's like, and she's like, yeah, we might as well start treating right now as some awesome, as some insignificant preamble to something else.
You know, and I think there was a lot more to the movie with them driving around and stuff, like a lot more of their conversating
Probably.
and stuff. But again, no, it wasn't funny, you know?
Well, it's like, but I guess I never really paid attention to exactly what she was saying in those
Yeah.
moments. Cause this is one of the few times, probably the only time I've really watched this movie start to finish completely sober.
Oh, yeah?
And so, paying attention to what she was talking about there, it's like, quit wasting right now this moment instead of always
Oh, yeah.
trying to prepare for something that may or may not actually happen. The fact is that we only live one life and we could die at any given time. So you might as well start enjoying life right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not encouraging people to, be intoxicated and inebriated and stuff like that. You don't have to do those kinds of things to enjoy life, but it's like, enjoy your life while you have it,
Right,
make it
no, absolutely.
make something of it right now. It's like you can still, at the same time, you can still prepare for the future, but
Right,
don't squander it
Don't
right
put
now.
all your chips on the future. Don't forget,
Yeah, exactly.
Don't forget to use that now. And something you bring up about not, how in the past you've watched this movie under the influence and stuff, and I think a lot of people do, but I don't even think it's really that kind of movie, because it's not like a Half Baked or
No.
Cheech and Chong.
It's not a pure comedy.
Yeah, it's not.
It's really not.
So it's not one that's like, oh yeah, I mean, back in the day we had very few films for this culture, for the
Right.
cannabis culture and
Yeah.
stuff, So anything, somebody's like, oh, there's a J in this movie, you gotta watch
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
And now it's everywhere like
Yes.
crazy,
Yeah, it's regular. It's just,
But so now that that's not so taboo,
Yeah.
I mean, you step away and really look back at this, and this is not a movie that I feel like, oh, you're into weed or you're into this or that. You need to watch. No, you're into movies. You need to
Yeah.
watch this movie.
yeah,
You
and
know?
that's the thing about this is my dad, like, I'm pretty sure he purchased it on Prime Video or whatever. So like, and my dad's has never smoked weed, like never been, never.
Yeah.
And so I was, I was kind of like, whenever I walked up on him, I don't know, a couple of years back, he was out on the back porch watching it, and I was like, he's confused, and he's like, yeah, and I was just like, okay. And so we got to talking about it, and of course it's also the same set at the same time that he's like growing up and stuff, like for
Right.
real. And the music, the cars, everything, that more of the stuff that we're talking about today, just the different things that are going on, not just about the drugs and the alcohol that are in it, but it's like, he related to the things that were going on there, those types of places,
Sure.
the Emporium, stuff like that. Maybe not necessarily that, but in Newcastle, but still, it's just that was his life, his era or whatever.
Well, something else I want to point out about this movie is like opposed to other movies filmed or set in the 70s. Okay, people were just dressed normal in this movie. Like, yes, there's some bell bottoms and some tight jeans or whatever, but like you compare it to something like
Not
that.
overt.
Yeah, like that 70s show.
Yes.
Where everybody's dressed so 70s and all the clothes are new.
Yes.
I mean, in real life, everybody's not wearing new clothes.
Right.
Most people aren't wearing new clothes.
Right.
You wear clothes that you bought for 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And that's really what, it's kind of one of those things that makes it a little bit more of a timeless movie.
Yeah, and like the only things that really stand out as being like obviously like doesn't seem natural, especially now looking back, are the wigs.
Yeah, no, and of course it was filmed for a softer picture, not high def. And I'll tell you, I think it's I forget the kid's name, one of the junior high kids with the brown hair, the curly brown hair. Gosh, that's got to be the worst wig in there. It's like just like on top of his head.
Oh yeah, his friend,
Yeah.
not Carl, but the other one.
Yeah, I forget his name.
With the brown hair,
name, but
yeah,
it's
yeah. No, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
The only female that it wasn't a wig, it was extensions. Is Jody? She's the only one that's got and that was another thing that made all the other girls kind of jealous. Like, oh, she's important enough to get extensions and we're not. I really think there was some like Linkletter really wanted that to kind of be the vibe, because even though the dude is a good guy and good to his people, he knew how to manipulate things,
Yeah.
you know. And just like he said before, he's like, no, I let people improv. He's like, I'll let them feel like this is their character, this is all there. He's like, but it's my movie,
Right.
you know. And he's like, and I have the final say on everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I want them to feel free. I
Yeah.
want them to feel like I'm not controlling them,
Yeah.
but I really am.
Right.
You know, which, you know, hey, he's a professional director.
You
I
know,
mean,
if it works,
a
it works.
director makes decisions all day, and a director's always a bad decision away from ruining his whole thing, you know.
True.
So it's like whatever works.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. Makes sense. So they're back at the Emporium. This is whenever Mel's like, "Hey, you know, run over
which
the
is obviously
Continental."
kind of a test.
You know, yeah, it's like, is he going to? Is
Yeah,
he
is he
even
gonna
going to try? You know,
Yeah.
not only does he try, but he succeeds. But one of the
And
things
if he
that,
doesn't, it'll be funny.
yeah, well, one of the things I thought was absolutely hilarious is the conversation the clerk is having with the pregnant lady as she's buying a bottle of booze, smoking
Yeah.
a cigarette, and he's telling her, you know, make sure to eat something green every day and lots of calcium. The babies need calcium,
very important
and
for
you know,
mother.
it's talking about trying to encourage a healthy pregnancy while she's buying booze and smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I forget her name, but she made the documentary in 2005, Dazed by Day. I've never seen it. I didn't really know it existed until that long ago. But like, I think she was dating Richard too, like casual dating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like during this. He said when he's making a movie, he's not in any serious relationships.
Yeah.
you know, because he's focused on his movie and stuff.
What was it called?
Dazed by Days.
Oh, okay.
Days by Days. I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
But it's a 2005 documentary. I'd like to see it, but I kind of feel like I know enough, but I don't even know, maybe on YouTube or something. But which he dated her, but I think he ended up getting another girl pregnant during this movie. and as bad as that sounds,
Would that then be the daughter
yeah, I think so.
that's in
Or maybe it's older
Boyhood?
kids. I don't. Linkletter. He like freaking. I forget what it was. Maybe it was Austin Fires. Dude, he lost a lot during the fires.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like a lot. Like he had all his memorabilia from his movies and stuff. His like house burned down
Wow.
and whatnot. Which he said ultimately it was a blessing because it taught him not to get attached to stuff. And
It's a
whatnot.
heck of a lesson.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about it, like if I lost my stuff, that would suck. But he lost stuff that were like really important to cinema,
Right.
So it's the thing. A lot of people lost a lot worth, and they didn't have a movie career to go on. But anyway, I digress. Okay, we're at the.
So we have Slow Ride, and then Mitch comes back.
Yeah. Well, at this point, he's ran into his buddies.
Oh yeah, you ran into Carl, and
Yeah,
once again,
he's
his
playing
brother.
it so cool.
Yeah.
Dad's a sixer. I'm a deal poor. Woo. And they're like, "Bastard abandoned over there." Yes, I want to get him back. Yeah, and
Come
then
up with the
Slow-
plan.
Which to me, Slow Ride's almost like Mitch's theme song in this
Okay.
movie. Because they play it later when he's
Yeah.
chilling out. And it's the last song in the movie, but it wasn't meant to be. That's another seminar. But so they're gonna get him back. I'm like, how are they gonna get him back?
Benyon deserves it.
And he gets Julie, which he's been hit on by an older chick, which she said she was totally not attracted to him at all. And look, I get it. He's a
Yeah.
skinny little Weasley kid.
Yeah.
Well,
that's when Dawn gives him some excellent advice. It's like, just play it cool.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that's
You
great.
know?
Yeah.
It's
He's
like,
like,
hey,
yeah.
she's
sounds-
gonna ask if you want to ride out there. Something you got your own ride.
Maybe I'll see. Like, sounds
Maybe
crazy,
I'll
right?
see you
It
later.
works,
It works.
and it's true.
And it works.
Like if somebody shows you attention and you're showing it back, it starts devaluing you sometimes. I mean, in that situation, as adults, I don't care.
Right.
You know.
Then we get the paint,
Yeah. Which
he leans over and asks Julie, incorporates Julie into the
right, and obviously these other guys that have Carl out there, the
Yeah.
long-haired dudes, they're obviously in on this
Right.
too. So they must have been like, "Oh, I hate Oak
Oh yeah,
because it's not like Benny out there
Right.
or something. It's
probably not football guys.
No, it's the stoner
No,
dudes.
yeah, yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, let's do this, O'Banny,"
It's like,
which
cool.
I think it was flour and water. And they dumped 5 gallons on him.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
he didn't know he was gonna get 5 gallons dumped. Yeah. I think he legit was not happy with that.
I was hoping he'd bust his face whenever he was trying to get in the car.
Oh,
You can
gosh.
hear those he does not know how to walk in boots. You can hear him dragging whenever he walks.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, pick up your feet, man.
He busts the paddle, and then that's it. That's it for O'Banion.
Well, he peels out on the grass. And
Right.
you hear on grass. It's like,
Which Hear that sound text. Anyway, you almost feel bad for him in that moment, but he deserves it.
that's what I'm saying. He deserves all of it, like it, and then some. He deserved a little bit more than that, but it is what it is. Next we have Wooderson meets Cynthia.
Oh yeah, love them
It's like,
redheads.
ew. It's like, isn't he like 25?
Yeah, like we
Was
were like 3 when he
when he yeah,
graduated.
that's what it was.
And then he gets at that. All right, all right, all right.
Moon Tower.
It's gonna be a party at the moon. He's like, listen, you got a ride? She's like, I got my own car. And he's like, well, she's driving,
Right.
And he's like, you need this too, because Mike's like, hey, we'll be there. You need this 2 gigs. You're in the car right now. Get in with us, but that's okay. We'll work on that later. Which is a very smooth way to say it. They say, that's okay. And then they're like, creep,
I
And
thought he was
I
kinda
remember
cute.
you. We had geography together. Slater and Wooderson, man, they're so great. They need their own movie. He did you ever see the Saturday Night Live skit where Matthew McConaughey revisited the Wooderson character?
I feel like I did, but
Yeah,
it
it's
had
worth
been a
watching.
long
Like,
time ago.
yeah, he just showed they're like it's this college thing or whatever, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden Wooderson sits down. He's like, "What's up?" Like, oh my gosh! And I love that he's always
Finally went
embraced
back
this.
finally went to college.
Yeah, they counted up one time like how many times cinematically Matthew McConaughey has said the word "all right," and it's like 300 or something like that. He said that, and he still to this day, he won an award. It's like all right, all right, all right, because it always takes him back to
Yeah.
that. That was the first thing he said. That's started his career.
It's just kind of part of who he is now.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's good. I mean, and he's always Wooderson, man, no matter what. But yeah, he meets Cynthia, and then they're like, oh, like, so are we going? Like, yeah. Again, true to life, like in some movies, they'd be like, no, I'm not going out there. I said he's a creep. And if I said he's a creep, I honestly don't want to be out there.
And what else we're gonna do?
Yeah, but in real life, it's like,
We just got to talking about, hey, let's go
it's not
out
the only
and do
one out
something.
there,
So let's go do something. Then we got Kiss.
Yeah, we got the statues in there. Yeah, so yeah, and like I talked about that earlier, but it's also funny that oh, never mind. I'm gonna talk about Led Zeppelin. That's
Okay.
later. Okay.
I guess now we're moving on to the Moon Tower party,
Party at the
right?
Moon Tower.
Like
yeah.
everyone's actually going out there now.
Yeah, which Moon Towers, that's a weird thing. Like I remember growing up, people were like, what's a moon tower? We would wonder that. I mean, now I get the
He
concept.
explains it. They explain it in the
Well,
movie.
yeah, but even then, it's kind of like, yeah, they just kind of threw them up. Really? Okay. This may not be connected to that, but they built those moon towers in they started building them in like late 1800s, places like Austin, because there weren't big buildings, right? So now they don't need them because they're skyscrapers and stuff, and
Right.
But like there was actually a serial killer in Austin, like in the late 1800s, and I don't know if the moon towers had anything to do with that, but it was around the same time.
Okay.
He was
So
like
they could have light at night.
yeah, exactly. Because the guy was killing like work women or something like that. I don't mean prostitutes necessarily. I mean like maid hands or so. I don't know. It's an old term that I read about. This interesting because it was called like the handmaiden killer or something like that. Okay, so that wasn't a real moon tower they used, obviously, because a real moon tower is about 150 foot tall. And that one that they had made was about, I think they said it's about 20, 30 feet.
Okay.
Which they were like, this is it? They're like, this looks like crap. So that's why you never see the bottom of it, because it really wasn't that tall. And there was a lot more to that scene too. When they're up there, there was a lot more deep talking and stuff about things, you know. But again, they're like, so we basically had to cut it down to guess how many people are out there just doing it. Or,
okay.
I'm paraphrasing that.
Yeah, because they're sitting up there looking at the city.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're looking, and he's like, think about how many people are out there, and then freaking Pigford's over there going saying something like, "Step into my mind." And he's always saying some weird stuff, man. I think gives a toke to Mitch. Does because he's got like a
oh yeah, in the back, and then in the background,
yeah.
Yes. For some reason, I wrote Pink has been ignoring his girlfriend all day.
No, you think about it because he said they linked back up.
Yeah.
And they kind of, they're at the freaking Emporium and she walks right by him and looks at him and he's sitting there talking to Jody.
Yeah, he's talking to Jody. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, Parker Posey, she's like, Parker Posey, whatever. She grabs Wooderson, and just like thrusts her. It shows you that he's probably been there, done that, when they're walking in. Kind of a weird little moment. Strange. And also, I didn't point out when they were out there talking in front of the Emporium. Yeah, that a lot of people didn't. I didn't notice this at first, but as he's giving the famous monologue. That's what I like about these high school girls. Which is a very
Yeah.
creepy line and
Yeah.
everything. You know, that freaking Jeremy
Got the
London,
belt.
the belt buckle, yeah,
Yeah.
the little sneak toe thing,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Funny thing about that is he met Quentin Tarantino, and the first thing Quentin Tarantino was like, "Tell me you still have that belt buckle." And he's like, "Yeah." And Quentin Tarantino was like, "I will give you $200,000 for it right now." And he kept it, which is weird because I know where it's at now. A guy, Sean Clark's the guy that owns it. He's really into the cons, but he does like horror haunted hollow grounds stuff. I'll send you some links or something. But he's super into horror movies and Dazed and Confused.
Okay.
You know, like so he goes to the filming locations and things like that.
Yeah.
And talks about it. I'll show you sometime.
Interesting.
Yeah, I met him at a con one time. Super cool guy. He's an agent for a lot of these.
Did you know that thing's worth $200,000?
I don't know.
According
I
to
wonder how
Quentin
much-
Tarantino.
I don't know. I know he said he had to track it down and stuff, and I don't know. The whole thing's weird. You know, I would like to know. I'd like to know.
Calling Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a fake one and call Quentin Tarantino. Like, bro, got it right here. But little sneaky toe gimmick.
Mike runs his mouth, making an observation.
Keep your mouth shut, brother.
Yeah.
And then, but obviously, Clint overreacts.
He was looking for something.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
looking for a
Started
fight.
to drink beer.
Kick A.
Yeah, and he was almost out of beer. They weren't almost out of beer.
There's plenty of beer at that point.
But you know, when Clint pulls his shirt off and comes at Mike, it is really the fear. I'm just saying, Adam Goldberg, he did that thing really, really well. Because I don't know if you've ever been in those kind of situations where somebody suddenly they're legit coming at you. You may not get in a fight, but they are coming for you right then, and you are not prepared for that. And it's like, what's going on?
Right.
And it's scary. I don't care even if you can take the person in a fight.
Yeah.
When you realize a person's attacking you,
Yeah.
you know, when they just weren't, you know, it's scary.
It's like we were chill, and now all of a sudden I'm being threatened.
Yeah, now this dude is coming at me, pulling. In my world, you don't pull your shirt. You don't pull your shirt off in public in my world. But, you know, if you take your shirt off, that's like, I don't know, man. It's like pulling out a weapon or
There's
something.
no backing down from that.
Yeah, it's
that
like,
point.
this is legit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like I said, if it's just like if you pull out a gun, I assume you're going to shoot me.
Right.
So you pull off your shirt, I assume you're not being dramatic. We're going to fight, son. But anyway, so I feel, again, something that feels genuine and real in that moment. Man, okay. So we're here. We're at the.
Well, like that's what my note says. You know, you can see the humiliation.
Oh yeah.
Like you can feel it. Like you can tell. Like you know.
Well, like, and even he says, at first I was relieved to get out of the situation, and he knew it was something that was going to haunt him.
Yeah.
You know, because we all have that too. You know, things that we've done that we should have handled better or been braver about.
Right.
You know.
Looking back on it.
Oh yeah.
You got Sabrina and Tony get left alone. That's
Yeah.
never mind. Hey, let's buzz off.
Also, like during this thing with Slater's like walking around, kind of looking to the right.
just cruising.
And he's talking like, it's like the person, Christopher's moment.
Very
you know,
much so. Yeah.
Shout out Shaman.
Right. Oh, this is whenever Benny and Pink are talking. Shortly after that, they're in they're in the pickup.
We skipped the first time they talk a little, and he's like, "You don't have to sign anything," because at first he's kind of backing him. On it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You got any other details of my life work?" He's like, "I got
Oh,
lots
yeah,
of details."
that's
And they don't ban you.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all didn't hear?
Yeah.
Y'all haven't heard? Have you? Why would they? It's not on social media. It's like,
All about the
anyway,
shotgun getting pulled. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what? You
Well, it's like he's talking about getting a shotgun pulled at him. Meanwhile, the other guys actually get shot at.
Oh yeah. You ever been
Old
shot
man
at?
with the gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
You ever been shot at? I have had a shotgun pulled on me, and I've been shot at. I didn't know we were being shot at the time. In freaking Woodson, both those things happened.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been peppered.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But it was two drunk dove hunters.
Oh, so it was an accidental thing.
Yeah.
No, it was me, Tater, and Mark. Maybe it was something like that. We were Woodson. We decided to go out for a walk at night, and
You told me this.
yeah, we thought somebody was popping
Yeah.
firecrackers.
Yeah.
And we didn't think nothing of it. And then we found out that one of his neighbors was talking like, yeah, there were these three. They said we were like wearing trench coats. Yeah, these three dudes in trench coats, big guys. Whatever.
Tater's not a big guy.
Yeah, I know. Like, and he's an average dude, you know. Like, and so he said he got out his gun and started like popping off shots over our heads or something, trying to scare us off.
Holy
Yeah, we heard it. We just thought it was firecrackers. And then the shotgun's another thing.
It's like someone was shooting off fireworks last night at us, and
I'm just saying.
I was shooting at somebody else. Wait a second.
I freaking stumbled down alleys in Oak Cliff. And was okay. I go for a walk at night in Woodson, Texas, and get shot at. I go to I got a shotgun pulled on me in Woodson, Texas. That's the only time I've ever. No, Jeremy pulled a gun on me one time, but that's neither here nor there. like these in the city, whatever. I mean, you got raw. Well, we don't have to talk about that. But that was Oak Cliff. You had a. Sorry, didn't mean to bring it up.
So yeah, we got Benny gets on to Pink saying this is the biggest mistake of your life,
Right,
man.
which is kind of lame.
Yeah, it's like that goes back to, well, I guess it would go forward to whenever, Pink says, if I ever start referring to these as the best years of my life, just kill me.
They remind me to kill
Yeah.
myself.
And so there's I don't know if there's a mess up there or what, but he's like, Benny says, you, me, Benny.
I know, I caught that last night. I was like, wait, he's Benny.
Yeah. That's
Dude,
what I have. That's
I
what
never noticed that before till last night when he said that. And I was like,
I think he meant Don or Donnie.
Mel,
Maybe he meant Donnie or something.
maybe so drunk.
You, me, and Donnie. Yeah, maybe.
You, James.
Well, then you got Cherry Bomb. Everyone's pretty wet. Everybody's pretty wasted. The stoners are tripping out, listening to Mila.
Oh, I want to talk about that real quick. So the song that they wanted to use for that, they couldn't get the rights to or whatever, and they were trying to figure something out. And that song she plays, it's called the Alien Song. It's actually her song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's on an album she put out. It's called the Alien Song.
Okay.
But that whole "Watch Them Fly," and I thought that was really interesting because she was also pursuing a music career, and her stuff's not bad.
Yeah.
Like you'd think, like listening to it, you're like, okay, this is gonna probably suck, but it's not bad.
Then you have all the stuff about aliens.
Yeah, that's what that song's about. Yeah, man, Mount Vernon, all that. That also, that scene there with Slater, it gives him some more depth. You see Slater's an intelligent person.
Yeah.
He's not just a burnout, brain dead dude. I mean, yeah, he likes to stay inebriated or whatever, but he's got some deep thoughts on stuff, and that's things that's been talked about for a long time about like Mount Vernon having hemp and all that stuff.
Well, hemp was.
Yeah. George Washington said, fill your fields with hemp, and it's a great crash car. It just shows, So he might be a
pretty
little
much had. There was a time that people had to grow hemp.
Yeah.
It was pretty much instituted.
Then the whole cotton company things and blah blah blah. Blah. Anyway,
Yeah.
That's a different podcast.
That's whenever shortly after that you have Cynthia talking about the 60s were awesome.
Right,
Obviously the 70s suck.
The every other decade theory.
Yeah.
This has stuck in my head for a long time. But
and the 80s are going to be awesome.
Yeah, radical. Maybe that. I thought that was funny because radical was kind of an 80s term. Maybe they'll be radical. Yeah.
Rad.
To her, radical probably meant something different though.
Yeah.
Like the.
That's where the term rad came about, right? In the 80s.
Rad.
Yeah. Then we have your favoriteest artist in the whole wide world, Uncle Ted.
Oh yeah.
Stranglehold.
Great guitar player.
And
nothing away from that.
Pink and Jody sneak off.
Yeah, who put the keg way out here? Yeah. Oh. That was a scene. I think one of the producers was really trying to get nudity in this movie because they said like we got an R rating for the cussing, so let's put nudity in it also. Let's go. Yeah, go for it. Linklater didn't want nudity. Oh, and his cameo was supposed to be. He was supposed to be had just gotten it on with a girl or something in a car or something. I don't know. He was like I said, he was glad to cut it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm
so glad there wasn't.
Well, me too. And he wrote the scene. He wrote a scene with it because they said he was going to get more money if it had nudity in it. So he wrote the scene, and the money didn't come through, so he cut the scene, so he wouldn't even film it. So
gonna get more. Money
basically saying like we'll give you more money toward the movie because we think it'll make more money if it has nudity. So you're going to get more money.
Gotcha.
So it was just one of those things. Well, just like the same people had to do with Mallrats. That's why Joey Lauren Adams shows her boobs, and Kevin Smith didn't want to make her do that.
Yeah.
And in fact, she was like, because they told her they were fire if she didn't show her boobs in that movie. Can you believe that? Yeah. Like, I mean, think about how things are now. And so Kevin Smith's like, hey, look, they're telling me this, that. She's like, well, how much nudity does it have to be? He's like, she just did a flash like that. He's like, that's more than enough. That's plenty.
Yeah.
So that was the compromise or whatever.
That's terrible.
No, but I think it was with Jody Linklater said, look, they want me to ask you, will you do nudity? She's like, no. He goes, good, none. He's like, this time.
Right.
And I know the girl that plays Siobhan or whatever, when she came in, that was one of her first things, like, I'm not doing nudity. She's like, I'm a Christian. I'm not going to get naked in your movie and stuff. So anyway, but yeah, I think it's better that it didn't have nudity.
Yeah, that's one of the things I don't like about Everybody Wants Some.
It did have some gratuitous nudity,
Yeah.
unnecessary kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah. It was like you could have got the point across without going that far.
You know, it's this weird thing. There's different spectrums to nudity in movies. Like when you're younger and you have all kinds of freedom to watch whatever you want, you may not care as much about nudity in it. Well, when you're younger and you don't get to choose whatever you want,
Yeah.
it can be exciting.
Yeah.
You know, but then when you're older and you watch whatever you want, you're like, oh, I don't really care if I want to watch something nudity. I can go watch something with nudity, you know,
Yeah.
for that or whatever. And then, but I think as you get older, you know, obviously you don't want in there as much because your family and stuff.
Yeah.
But it almost like I can see how people can appreciate the eye candy, you know, but it
Yeah.
doesn't
But
because this movie, listen, this is a very pretty cast.
yeah,
You
but
know?
it's like for me, like I want to suggest movies to people, and it's like I gotta hold back on some stuff because I'm like, no, there's certain, like
Right.
even with that movie, it's like there's so much more to that movie that I'm like, okay, it's like, but I will warn you, there is a scene that's just like, it's like, okay, it is what it is, and it's real quick and everything. You know, it's not like it's like a focus. It's, I mean,
Right.
it's moving pretty fast in the whole deal. Like obviously it's there, but it's like, you know,
But sometimes, though, I gotta admit, sometimes nudity, dude, it really makes a scene. Have you seen No Hard Feelings? Jennifer Lawrence. It's kind of a newer movie.
no.
One of the best fight scenes ever. That's all I'll say. Anyway, moving on.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That scene is so
Yeah,
crazy
I know what you're
because
talking about.
it's got nudity in it.
Yeah.
You know?
You
And
know,
obviously,
what about Barbarian?
that's nudity, didn't it? You know the mother was playing.
I know. I saw that. I saw that a dude plays the mother.
Yeah. Yeah, there it was. Huh? You know, somebody's probably like, Dad, go, man.
And so now we've got Mitch and Julie chilling, and the guys are like, "Hey, Mitch,
But
Mitch, hey,
real quick, when they're making out in the woods, though,
yeah."
like she's all into that, and then he like goes for second base. She's like, "No,
It's
you
like,
have
no, you have a girlfriend. It's like, what the hell?
yeah." It's like, what are you doing here? So
like-
she's probably kind of a tease like
Yeah.
that, you know. So whatever.
It's like you want to feel these, you got to break up. It's like, no, we're getting out of here.
Yeah. Okay.
So then you have then you have Mitch and Julie, and they're like, hey.
Yeah, they
And
bring him.
and
What's this wave?
he
Oh,
waves,
what's this
this
waving
waving thing? What the? It's what? It's like over now, first now.
Yeah, they give us a little advice, but also it's like, say we left you and all that, you know.
So what's with this waving? That's whenever Darla shows up, and you got Tony and Sabrina.
Oh yeah, doing the whole
Talking,
thing, the
yeah.
whole little area, which
Yeah.
I'm sure she forgets all about it. the
That's
next
what I
day.
was thinking too. It's like after she walks off, you can tell she's so plastered.
Oh
that,
yeah, she's like,
because she's
falling
like,
and
I'm gonna
stuff.
ruin your life for the rest, and it's like, no, you're gonna forget about this.
They shot this scene between her and Joey Lauren Adams where they're just, you see their faces and they're talking. It's this real deep conversation, and then it pans back and you see that they're both crouched down like peeing in the woods. But they said unfortunately you could tell in the shot that their pants aren't down,
Yeah,
so they weren't able to use it. But
that's
oh,
you know.
and the girls were supposed to have a scene on the moon tower, where
Oh yeah,
yeah, where they would be up there talking, and there was and it was a lot of deep stuff talking about like because they walked through a grave, they saw a headstone about somebody that was 17 and da, 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 da. But Linkletter, although that got cut, he ended up putting almost that exact same scene in one of his other films, like
Okay.
Before Sunrise or something. It's like if you watch that, that's that scene
okay,
that I had to cut out.
all right. Yeah, one of my notes says about the whole intimidating Sabrina that she's so drunk, who knows if she'll even remember. And then we have the fight
Okay, the fight, which
because Mike has a plan.
yeah,
He's
because
got a plan. Herd
He-
mentality.
it's a good plan.
It's not a bad
No,
bad
he
one.
has the right idea.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He's like, but his problem was like, I just got to play defense. It's like you should have stayed on offense, you know.
Not let him
Because
get
he
up.
drops him, and he could have pounded.
He should have jumped right on top
Yeah.
of him if you're gonna do it.
And then he's like, dude gets up, and then it's over. You know, when Clint gets up, it's like, okay. Because he's just like, where are they at? They're going to break it up.
It's like not yet. Wooderson and Pink aren't there yet.
Right, yeah.
And they're the ones that break it up, you know.
And somebody, I think the fight's going, somebody's like trying to light up during the fight, like, oh, I want to be smoking with this, you know. Because I was always a fight breaker upper, but most people aren't, you know. Most people just be like, let them fight, you know.
I guess it would depend on who it was for me. I mean, if it's
Well, I don't know. I'm a naturally a protector. I don't want to see people fight because I know nothing good comes out of it.
Yeah.
You know, or we're gonna separate y'all and y'all calm down, then you can fight. You know, but we're gonna do it in a fashionable manner. We're not, you know, we're gonna make sure that both you are able to fight.
right.
You know, because if it's one sided, F that. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no, I'm with you there. I can see that, but I mean, I definitely would have broke it up if it's like close people, and that's the only people that break it up are.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Pink and well, I mean Wooderson. I don't know if Wooderson would have gotten involved if he wasn't with Pink
right.
or not, but he's the
Well,
one
him and
that
Clint are kind of friends because you see them earlier talking about their cars and stuff together.
sure that
So obviously he knows what kind of guy Clint is.
yeah
And he also he's like you said they're geeks, so he probably looked at it like that's not cool. You got
Yeah.
a gearhead, and a dirt dude, and we're establishing now that Wooderson is a decent guy.
decent guy. That's when the real humiliation sets in for Mike, though.
Yeah.
Shortly after that.
He tried again. And it was funny. Nikki Katz and Adam Goldberg. They said after they filmed that scene, they were like, "Oh man, this is gonna make us." They're like, "We're no more TV, dude. This is it. We don't have to audition anymore. This is gonna be the scene." He's like, "No more TV, no more auditioning." He said, "Of course, none of that happened. And the next time they saw each other, they were auditioning for a TV show."
Well, the night is winding down.
And you got Tuesday's Gone playing, which is they're really good at capturing that with the keg going.
Yeah, the keg being tapped out.
Really, that's just good storytelling of party's over.
Right.
Keg's out, Tuesday's Gone's playing. It's the night's winding down.
Wooderson gets Cynthia's number.
Yeah, love them
Taylor
redheads.
Smith, 3
Yeah, dude.
weeks.
She's like, I won't forget. She's such an innocent kid.
Then we have the joint subcommittee on the 50.
Which Pickford's there. See, he was him and Mila, they're supposed to go
Yeah.
at that point because they're in there in that conversation.
Okay.
But at this point, after that, he was gone. They left. So that's why only reason they're not in that last scene.
They're lost. That wasn't a smart idea.
No. I mean,
But
because of that, we got Matthew McConaughey in that.
true.
And they had to say, like, why would Wooderson be with let's just do it, you
Right.
know? And which was funny. There's times in this movie, especially there, that they were using real stuff,
hmm
like being smoke or alcohol. And when he's like, watch the leather, like, he's legit baked. Just like whenever Pink was talking to the old couple, he was hot. That seemed legit. They were saying like, man, the near beer sucked, and they had this fake stuff for him to smoke, and they said it made everybody cough. That's why when Rory was saying something, he's like, no, when I'm coughing, he's like, it was the fake stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pledge sheet. One more time.
Yeah. Well, they're on. Okay, so they're at which that's the last place I'd go, but I get it because this is a different world at this point. They own. Like this is a place. There's all these rules and everything. I was like, yeah, I've gone up to the school. I think we've all done that. Like, you go to a place you're real familiar with, and you get to act in a way that you don't normally there. So it's a neat thing. So for them to be hanging on the 50, I love that Slater's asleep. They get tackled on top of him.
That's not cool, man.
Yeah, it's not cool, man. I remember watching that thinking, I was like, Sam, I was like, he'd be the Slater right there, passed out, and somebody falling. Like, man, And then, of course, they, Dawn, there's some good dialogue there. I think you see Pink kind of looking around, kind of soaking it all in and everything. And, of course, Wooderson goes to get the papers.
Yes.
After they do the whole little football thing with reefer on. That's something Pink wrote was the whole, okay, yes.
Reefer on, too.
Yeah, yes. But it was like, only OTS, only the strong survive. Because apparently he had a coach that always yelled that to him. And he asked Linklater, he's like, hey, is it okay if I yell OTS, only the strong survive? And he's like, well, that's gold. He's like, yes.
Of course, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so I always thought that Wooderson's back gave out on him or something because he does, but he's just pantomiming and getting hit.
Yeah.
Then he comes back and they're always trying to make you do. You got to do a Randall Pink Floyd. When the first time he said that, I watching this, I hadn't got everybody's names yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, Randall Pink Floyd, is that the guy in Pink Floyd? I was like, is he that's kind of lame? He's like, you got to do what the rock star wants you to do. I was like, surely that dude's name's not Pink, because that's lame. But it's cool.
Pink is a nickname.
Right, yeah, I get it now. At the time.
His last name's Floyd.
Oh, never got that. Never put that together. But Pink Floyd's not in the movie. Okay, anyway. Well, I don't want to have one of those standoffs where we see who can be dumber. Those are it's too late for that.
Yeah. Yeah, so the night is done. The sun's rising.
Yeah, and this is where again, this is what I talked about earlier. Originally, the cops they were there because they tracked down the statues.
Gotcha.
You know, and going back, kind of watching that, and that's why you think about it because the cops leave.
Yeah.
You know, after whatever gets cleared, I don't know if they took the statues or what.
Right.
You know, they're gone, and they're like, "Oh no, coach."
Then the coach shows up.
Yeah, because I guess the cops. Yeah, they called the coach.
Originally called the coach.
Which the whole thing was like they recognize that cop recognizes Wooderson. I love that cop's hair, like those bad bangs. Like, what's coach gonna think about all this? You freaking dork! You dork with a badge.
That's
Hilarious.
the baddest thing you can think of. Your coach is gonna get you.
Yeah, gonna call coach and freaking a. So yeah, now we're at the this is the end. This is the wrap up. In Pink. And then, and hearing it, them talk about saying like that's the ending. I get that, but I never thought that. Watched it, I was like, I figured that's exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it works.
yeah. I mean, it's not some big explosion or some great monologue or something like that, or fight or anything. It's just him being like deciding who he is, who he's gonna be, and you know, he's taking his time now at this point.
If I'm gonna play, I'll play it.
Because Linklater obviously has authority issues, like just from his work, and then hearing about him like talk about dealing with the studio, and
Yeah.
so much of that stuff was like, dude, this is your first big movie.
Yeah.
And then after this, dude, he took out he ran a story in the Austin Gazette or whatever, talking about like naming everything the studio screwed him on, or every time they gave him trouble with this movie and stuff.
Really?
And people were like, so this is the end of your career, because nobody ever done that. You know? But to him, he was like, maybe it is.
I don't think it hurt his career.
No, obviously he's done fine.
You know?
But he's like, you know what? I did it in print and I did it in Austin. He's like,
Yeah.
it didn't have to get to them, you know, in
Sure.
LA and stuff, you know, like, yeah. Anyway, so when the coach said, even sitting there in his Jeep, such a coach thing to do, you know, stay there. And of course, that's where they decide to, you know, that they're gonna. Gosh, can you imagine how tired they are? You've been partying all
That's
night.
what I was thinking. I'm like, the last thing you want to have to deal with at the number one, cops. Number two, this prick of a coach.
And what? Like, hey, coach, remember me saying me to class? You just got when you got to tell the teacher, remember me.
That's never a good sign.
Those are the kind of people I'm talking about, and which is, you know, again, that was supposed to be Pickford instead of Wooderson, so those are the guys I'm talking about.
That makes sense. He's like, how can you even pretend to say that? Like, you don't even know these guys.
Right? Yeah. And you know, I think Pink also realized at this point that the fact that they haven't told him to just screw off or said you're not playing or nothing shows that they really want him.
Yeah, they need him.
And he's kind of got the upper hand
Right.
at this point. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna.
I mean, that's part of what that's part of Benny's deal is like, you're
Yeah,
screwing us over.
Yeah, it's not just you, it's us.
Yeah, it's like, if you do this, if you don't play, then you're screwing us
And
over.
that coach wants him to win because
Yeah.
that coach makes himself more valuable.
Yes.
You know, it's business. That's why that's something even in school I got that. I was like, these coaches push us so hard to hit each other, hurt each other. I was like, in the end of the day, because it makes them more valuable.
True.
You know, because I mean, especially seeing kids in high school with injuries, and I'm like, that sucks, dude. I would not want a job where I'm risking kids' safety. And so I know a dude in high school got his neck broke playing football.
One of
You
my
know?
cousins he's had to have multiple knee surgeries from it all came from being a running back.
Yeah.
And even as an adult, still having problems with ACL.
Yeah, all from school, dude.
Yeah.
And they're putting them in these situations.
And we're in these for us, Newcastle, little 6-man. Like, nobody's getting a scholarship.
right,
You're
you're not
not, like,
going
you're
to
not
college
going
on
into.
this.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, football's it's fun and it's great how the town gets together, but these kids getting pushed, dude. It's I'm not into it.
Yeah, that's why I quit after I did my freshman year, and then after that, I was like, I don't want to do this. I
Like-
don't like doing this.
Our star running back, like I think my freshman year or something, I would, you know, he was a big shot, dude, like hardcore player and stuff, dude. But then I saw him after he graduated showing up to the games in his oil field gear, you know, limping, you know, and I knew exactly what it was because it was that same knee I'd see him tape up before
Yeah.
practice, before games. You know, I'd watch this dude hit somebody so hard that he'd go off sides and throw up, you know?
Seen that?
Yeah, and I tell the coach, yo, Jimmy's over here throwing up. The coach is like, so?
That's a concussion.
Yeah, you know?
That's a concussion.
And it's like, yeah, you know, that didn't even occur to me. But you're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
You know? And the coach looked at me like I was an idiot.
Yeah.
You know? So what? We're trying to win a game. Game, bro. No, this is a game for us. It's those coaches, it's their job and money. And I'm not trying to crap on coaches at schools and stuff. But my perception of it is what it is.
Well, I mean, they'll have a new freshman next year, so
Yeah, and if they have a winning enough season, they'll go on anyway. To work in bigger school anyway. So they do. We're wrapping the movie up. They're leaving now. Originally, he wanted Led Zeppelin's "Rock and Roll" to play.
we got Mitch.
Oh, I forgot about
and
Mitch.
his mom.
Yeah.
Because Jody's like giving him crap. And
Yeah,
Mom's gonna tear you up. She's gonna get on you. I
Just don't have
trust me.
her,
I've
take it
been
easy
through
on
it.
me.
Yeah. And he's like, just don't do that.
What's that supposed to mean? And like, in that the girl didn't like that scene where they're making out because she didn't like making out with him. Because she said like the longer they would film, the more comfortable he would get, and the more making out. And she's like, "Stop it!" Gets into it. He's like, "Well, I was supposed to make out," And listen to that song, "Summer Breeze."
So he comes walking in.
Obviously intoxicated.
Yeah.
That's
Like, where have you been? She's like, are you drunk? She goes, have you been drinking? Are you drunk? I think she's just screwing with him at that point.
Well, it's reminiscent to that scene later in that movie, Boyhood, where Trish Arquette's talking. She's like, "Have you been drinking?" He's like, "A little bit." It's like, "Have you been smoking?" A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's. I see. I mean, what's he do? He puts on his headphones.
Yeah.
Starts listening slow riding.
Slow
again,
ride.
which, like I said, it's kind of his thing. Kicks it in, then we're getting the scene now. And that's another thing very familiar. Like being in the car with the windows down, blowing. Everybody's been up all night.
Yeah, they're driving to Houston.
Yeah.
After being up all night drinking.
But they're on their third win. So
yeah. See, you'd have to have a third win.
Like, and I forgot where they dropped off. Where Tony and them dropped off.
Sabrina.
Yeah. So what's cut out of that too is every time Sabrina gets dropped off, because she gets dropped off earlier by after the hazing and stuff. Well, she stands in front of a house until the car leaves. 'Cause she gets dropped off at her neighbor's house because her house is a little shack.
Oh.
And that's something Linklater took from real life. He used to do that. And then he said that one day his mom was on set. They were filming that scene. She's like, "Well, why is she getting dropped off in front of her neighbor's house?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. Let's go to Crafts." Or something like tell her, like, "'Cause Mom, I used to do that." My sister used to, when we had, if we were in a crappy car, she would have my parents drop her off like a block from the school.
Oh, wow.
She'd walk. She'd rather people think she walked than we drove a crappy car.
Oh, wow.
It was an 80s Monte Carlo, and crappy. It's cool. I didn't care, but
I've never cared about that.
my sister, she's into that. She was a self-proclaimed label person. But anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, they're headed off. This was, as I say, they're playing Slow Ride, which was perfect fit. But originally, it was supposed to be Led Zeppelin's Rock and Roll. They reached out to Zeppelin. Jimmy Page was cool with it. Robert Plant was not. Robert Plant said no, because it was combating his solo career, right? So
It was combating his solo career.
because that album coming out because with the soundtrack coming out,
Yeah.
that would be going up against Robert Plant's solo stuff he's putting
God.
out. Right. Linklater hated Robert Plant so bad for that. He had talked so much crap about Robert Plant. He's like, everybody knows Jimmy Page is the talent. He said it finally got to Robert Plant. He's just like, why does he hate me?
Well,
He finally like,
screwed up my soundtrack, bro.
yeah, and also the soundtrack was a whole nother thing we didn't really get to get into. We touched on it, but he got really mad about all that too because selling the soundtrack to a record label was supposed to bring in a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they basically ended up giving it for $35,000 is what they sold that soundtrack for. So they only made where he was expecting to make a lot more money off that.
Yeah.
$35,000. The reason is because they wanted. Do you remember the band Jackal?
No.
I'm a lumberjacker, baby.
Oh, okay.
But very 80s band. They wanted Jackal to do American Band. We're in America. Do a cover and have that in the credits so that they could push this new Jackal song because Jackal is just about to come out. This new Jackal song is on the soundtrack for Dazed and Confused. And they're saying, if you do this, MTV will get behind us. We can give you a lot more money. And they made the deal. Linklater, Matt, he's like, you can't do that. If you do that, it's going to screw things up. It's going to make this like less genuine, less whatever. Because he's like, Jackals, they're not going to be around.
Right.
People. So the studio had Jackal record the song. They were going to put it on the thing. Linklater reached out to Jackal and was like, hey, don't take this wrong, but I don't want your song in my movie. And they were like, hey, if you don't want it in your movie, we won't put it in your movie.
Right.
They're like, we get where you're coming from as an artist and stuff. So they told the record label, no, we will not let you use our song on this soundtrack or in this movie.
And so they screwed him?
Yeah. So Linklater and Jackal screwed the company. that's why they said, okay, we basically gave, you know, 35,000.
Well, that's what I mean is
Yeah.
that's they
So that's
how
what they did.
screwed
They were
him.
so mad at Linkletter about it. Yeah, that they did that. And so yeah, again, something he holds quite the grudge for. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. He's got a gold record from Dazed and Confused. He hung it above his toilet. That's what he thinks of it.
Wow.
Yeah, so the soundtrack that's a whole thing about that because you know they were given like some of those songs were $100,000, and they would like you got to cut this song, you can't have this song, you can't have that. It's like no, I have to have this song.
It's like I spent all that money on this song.
Yeah, you know, and again they were supposed to recoup a lot of that
Yeah.
on the soundtrack, but dude, that wasn't even the price of one song. What they ended up getting for it, and that stuff he put in that his diary, his Dazed
Yeah.
diary that he published and stuff. You know,
Holy crap.
yeah. So I'm telling you, there's a lot to this movie. I mean, I even skipped over some tidbits just in the interest of saving time, you know. And plus, I didn't really know how to, you know, bring stuff up and where it goes, you know.
Right.
But we could do another freaking hour just talking about behind the scenes stuff with this movie. Again, it was originally the original cut, 3.5 hours. Would love to see that,
No joke.
you know. But man, I've had a lot of fun talking about it, man.
Yeah, this has been interesting.
Just don't know if there's. I wonder if there's so many other movies that have all this stuff behind it. You know what I mean? That's this iconic.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there might be, I'm sure. I don't know 'em. At least not the movies that I know.
Well, think about an
But
alternate
it's-
reality where Sean Andrews doesn't act like a jerk, and Matthew McConaughey doesn't get to be Wooderson in that much, you know, or some of these other people got cast, you know, or Jason Lee's not with Cynthia, you know, so he's not there on this, you know, where you don't have Kevin Smith never because Kevin Smith said before, he's like sometimes I think about making a movie about the 70s. He's like, oh wait, Dazed and Confused exists.
Right.
He's like,
I don't have to do it.
yeah, it's like I don't have to do it. It's already been done, you know. So in Linklater, like he's not. Maybe to some people, like you know, when we talk about, oh, I like Quentin Tarantino films, I like Kevin Smith films, you know, people like Oliver Stone films. People
Right.
don't know. You don't hear Linklater.
No.
you know.
No, not really.
But then you look at the guy's catalog, and you're like, he has
It's
a
pretty
it's
pretty impressive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's freaking. I mean, everything from Slacker to School of Rock. You know what I mean? And
I didn't even realize that he did School of Rock.
I don't think a
until-
lot of people do,
yeah.
which is funny because okay, now Led Zeppelin, going back to them real quick, the only movie they ever let use was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Okay.
They are very particular about who uses their music. They don't like for it to happen. So whenever they made School of Rock, Linklater had Jack Black make a video of begging Led Zeppelin for them to use Immigrant Song
Yeah.
for a scene. And of course they're like, oh yes, of course, Jack Black. We love you, Jack Black. Of course you can. And he needed in that scene. So that was actually, he's like, so he kind of, I think he let his hate of Led Zeppelin go after that. He was like, okay, it all came full circle.
It's like, okay, you let us have something here.
Yeah. But Jack Black will tell you School of Rock's the best movie he's ever done. You know?
It had to have been fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he said that's the movie that made him. Which you think about it, you're like, well, I mean, he was in other
That
stuff.
is the one that did pop him off hardcore.
Sure,
But, I
absolutely.
mean, no, he had been in a bunch of stuff before that,
I
but
mean, he even had some lead roles, but that's that's like that. I think he considers it his favorite movie. So Richard Linklater is giving us so much, and he's all done it under the Texas banner.
true.
You know. By the way, I want to point out we need to wave this Texas flag down. So I got 2 Bowie knives holding it. I don't know what's more Texas. It's in here, the Texas flag posted up with 2 Bowie knives talking about Dazed and Confused.
All right. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of the Scarecrow Hour,
Yeah.
for watching all 3 episodes. Hope you watched all 3. If you're watching this episode, go back and watch the other 2. You missed.
Yeah.
You just
You really go
missed.
back.
Yeah.
Watch that first one
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
About
The
not
cast.
about. But I think like we could do. I think the cast deserved a whole episode.
We did the cast, we did a day, and then we did the night.
Right. Yes. Not bad. That's not a bad little trilogy there. We could do a whole other one about the soundtrack too. You know.
Yeah, not tonight though.
No. We give you the condensed
Yeah.
one. That's what's up. And we didn't have a Dazed and Confused background banner, so we went another
Yeah,
great movie.
you know.
In case you didn't know, in case you've been watching this, going like, why is Jaws? I say why not? The other choice is a white wall. And I wanted to use this. I think since we've been doing Scarecrow, I'm using a Jaws banner. Dadgummit.
So there we have Jaws.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. It's great to be back in the studio with
Thank
you,
you.
man.
I know, man. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's
and, I'm glad we did this. Too many.
It's kind of cathartic.
Yeah, we plan so many that we don't get to do, and then if we don't do them within a certain amount of time, they don't happen.
No, it's true.
mean-
It's true. I've made notes for other movies,
Yeah.
and I still have the notes somewhere.
Yeah, I
But-
still got the notes in, Scrooge, Dust Till Dawn,
Yeah.
freaking Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep.
And I think, there was another one I know we were going to do. And I think I have graphics made for it. I don't remember what it is. Oh, Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Nosferatu. Yeah. Whenever
But-
it came out. But
Yeah, I mean, but we're not going to bring you just crap. So those would have not turned out the way we wanted them to, and that's why they didn't happen.
it would not have been Dazed and Confused.
No, yeah.
It wouldn't have been Predators.
You know, I remember we were talking, we were like, we need to do a Scarecrow hour. And we're like, well, what would it be? I'm like, I would love to do Dazed Confused.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like,
I said,
do it.
okay, let's do it.
and we've got something in mind. I think we got another one of these that coming up before too long that we'll get back in that we can do. I don't want to get ahead of myself here because things change, but another one of my all-time favorite movies, and I hope we get to it.
Yeah, let's talk about it and then let's plan it and make it
Yeah.
happen.
And plus, and y'all feel free to chime in if you think there's something we need to cover or we should cover. It might make us want to do it, especially if you want to sponsor. Shit, I'll do Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
This
sponsor.
see, instead of having a Jaws, maybe we could have, your stuff right here.
You're
thank-
at here.
Yeah,
Dude, yeah, I'm dying to sell out, bro.
I dare somebody to dare me to sell out. Please.
Yeah, I wish
I
we
wish a mother would.
even like I just want to plug something too. I want to I don't even care if I'm getting paid really. I just want to be like, Dad, gum. This episode brought to you by this. It's the best stuff you've ever had. It's right here. I can't have enough. It's the only reason I'm going to do it. Preferably something I use anyway. But,
Right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those fun things. You can check out all of our videos at UncleSamPresents.com, or you can find us on our YouTube, our Spotify, or our Rumble pages. That is it.
That's it. I stays confused.
I am dazed and almost
The
confused.
best show. That's a wrap. Ladies and gents, Uncle Sam presents the Scarecrow Hour. Dazed and confused. Dazed and confused. Featuring the most random of ninjas. Random ninja. And who's your uncle? Uncle Sam. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the Scarecrow Hour. Brought to you by Uncle Sam Presents. Welcome everyone, Uncle Sam presents the Scarecrow
Copyright 2020 by
Hour.
Uncle Sam Presents.
Welcome
You can say
welcome to
UncleSamPresents.com.
the
Email us at
Scarecrow.
Spotify, YouTube,
Scarecrow
Facebook,
Hour.
Instagram, and Twitter. Email us if you wish to be a sponsor.
Random,
Check out the rest
most
of our
random
videos
ninja.
at UncleSamPresents.com.
Uncle, who's your uncle? The Scarecrow Hour, brought to you by Uncle Sam. This is the Scarecrow Hour.